From land expropriation without compensation to NHI. Well, the ANC and DA, they seldom sing from the same policy hymn sheet. Now we can firmly add BBBEE to that equation because our journalist Siyamtanda Capa reports that the DA has tabled its own potential successor to BBBEE, the so-called Economic Inclusion for All Bill.
And they've told us that they're going to take it through to Parliament. It's going to go through all the motions. But what it looks like, it's sort of leveling the playing field based on poverty and not race, as opposed to BBBEE.
Later in our training topic, the plot thickens with our investigations team detailing evidence that slain auditor Mpho Mafole's work was hindered from within the City of Ekurhuleni.
Rahole misrepresented and sanitized the report before sending to his own boss.
And finally, revelations of a double agent shocked the nation in 2003 with On This Day in South African History at the end of the show.
New episodes of The Lead air Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m.
Is your business big or small looking for a competitive edge? Advertise on The Lead by getting in touch with us at thelead@24.com and we'll put you in connection with the relevant salespeople. Plenty to chat about. My name's Graeme Robenheimer. This is The Lead and this is the South African story. Moving to our top story today, well, at the heart of it all, it has been proven that on one hand, the ANC's championing of broad-based black economic empowerment, BBBEE, has certainly succeeded in putting money into black people's hands. That's the basis of it. This, a majority race that has largely been excluded from enjoying the fruits of our country's economy for centuries. But BBBEE's critics, on the other hand, claim that the wealth that this contentious policy has generated has often landed in the laps of a small elite group with strong political ties. So we're asking, not telling, in apartheid shadow, what could potentially take BBBEE's place? That's really the question here. Well, the ANC's GNU partner, the DA, claims to have this answer. And the journalist who was covering the party's latest proposal as that answer in a recent presser is our very own Siyamtanda Capa. And she's live with me now from Johannesburg. Sia, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks. And you, Graeme?
Can't complain. Look, we're not here to discuss or debate the merits of BBBEE, are we?
No, not at all.
100%. So let's really get down to the brass tacks of what the DA is sort of claiming to be a proposal here. They had this presser at in Bruma at the DA's HQ there, and we heard from Matt Cuthbert, the DA's sort of head of policy. What does their sort of bill look like? What is its name, and what does it sort of set out to say or be in response to BBBEE as we know it?
So the DA has come with a proposal, and they're calling it the Economic Inclusion for All Bill. And they've told us that they're going to take it through to Parliament. It's going to go through all the motions. But what it looks like, it's sort of leveling the playing field based on poverty and not race, as opposed to BBBEE.
Right. So they're saying, essentially at the heart of it, let's take race as an indicator out of it and merit be the sort of answer or the means to an end. Do I have that correctly?
That's exactly how it sounds. And the DA Federal Chairperson, Ivan Meyer, he said that his argument is when you're applying for social grant, when you're applying for NSFAS funding, no one looks at your race. They look at affordability. Can your parents afford it? And so they want that to be applied in the case or the context of, in the case of business. Yeah.
In your latest piece, which has attracted, of course, a lot of attention, a lot of commentary, the DA takes aim at BEE with bold new bill focusing on poverty, not race. In that particular piece, you add a very important context that the DA is essentially wanting to use this bill to challenge the Public Procurement Amendment Act, which is a more recent piece of law from 2024. What do we know about this specific act when it comes to tender procurement within government? What does that sort of set out to do in how governments, get people to and companies to supply certain services, if you will?
So what do we know about the Procurement Act at the moment? It speaks to professionalization and ethics, modernization, policy alignment, and preferential procurement framework. And when the City of Cape Town challenged this in the Concourt, they were not speaking about those technicalities. They are challenging the process that it took, or the process that it went through. And this is also at the core of other DA challenges in equity, etc. But essentially, the Procurement Act also speaks to being aligned to the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN.
Right. And this act, as we understand it, and it's, we may potentially go into the weeds here, but I think that one of the central points of the DA's argument is that it's creating too much red tape bureaucracy.
100%. And they're speaking to, it opens up the door to interference, especially in local government. And we all know the corruption in that space at the moment.
Okay. So the DA claims that this bill as a policy alternative is, as you say, sort of in line with what the United Nations sets out. So it feels that it's justified in that sense.
Yes, you read it correctly. And the DA's introduction of the Sustainable Development Goals is not for the first time. The first time I heard it was at their manifesto launch. So they campaign on the SDGs when they speak about scrapping BEE. And that's when I said in the beginning, they're leveling the playing field, because their argument is that you do find that sometimes Black people competing, there is someone who is politically connected and someone who isn't. And so they're wanting everyone to be viewed on a sort of equal footing. I don't know if that makes sense.
We'll get to the legislative side of things in the next moment, but obviously that will take quite long in Parliament. Obviously, the ANC and DA for the longest time have not seen eye to eye on policy fronts. What's the DA saying in its presser about the optics of simply bringing this bill in its very awkward and uncomfortable marriage with the ANC in the Government of National Unity?
The question was asked at the presser, Uba, look, your relationship with ANC right now is precarious. And I did reflect this in my article yesterday, because they're already fighting over the Expropriation Act. They're already fighting over the Basic Education Laws Amendment Act, BELA. They're already fighting over equity, and they've taken some of these to court. They are challenging the process, getting them passed. So it looks like they're adding to an already fragile relationship. They're adding one more thing. And yesterday, the president confirmed that they haven't spoken to him about it. They don't have to speak to the president about it because it has to go through the parliament. But he says it hasn't been discussed in the GNU sort of context as partners, as political partners. And I think I want to mention here that the ANC has said that the DA is showing that it's anti-transformation, and it's attacking transformative policies that the ANC has put forward. And I think yesterday I heard the ANC spokesperson Mahlengi Bengu saying that the people who have benefited from BEE should come out and also defend it, but I have not seen that yet.
It's quite interesting, right, Sia? Because on a national policy scale, you have the ANC using that rhetoric a lot within its election drives, that the DA sort of anti-transformation. It likes to say that, and then on the other side of things, you have the DA championing the fact that President Cyril Ramaphosa had claimed that DA municipalities are really the prime examples of good local governance. It's interesting, those two sort of election rhetorics that we are finding ourselves with these two parties in the GNU at the moment. Do we know when this bill is expected to be brought before Parliament? Is there any idea from their DA presser?
They didn't say when they would take it to Parliament, but they did today. I saw one of their statements saying that they have gazetted it in the government printer's document. It's been gazetted today, I think less than an hour ago. So they're moving very quickly. That process is going to start very quickly.
Did the DA, and these are senior DA members, like Ivan Meyer has been an MEC in the Western Cape government for a really long time. He's a strong proponent for coalition politics. He's a sharp mind. He's the DA federal chair. Did any of these DA members acknowledge the positive effects that BBBEE has brought to the South African economy? I mean, our colleague Carol Payton has done fantastic work in this regard. And I just want to quote her, yes, before you answer the question. By 2022, the middle class in South Africa had reached 22 million. of which 57% of that middle class in income earners were black Africans, and 75% were black people in total. So the upper class households with incomes over 75,000 Rand a month was also majority black by 2022. That is inherent enough that BBBEE has most definitely assisted black people who needed a hand up in a government and a previous country that was very much white minority led. Any acknowledgement from the DA on that front?
Oh, actually, they do acknowledge that, look, money has been put in the hands of black people, but also in that same regard, it's opened up the door widely for corruption. And so the money that's been lost to corruption could have also done a lot of different, it could have changed other black people's lives and not just the politically connected rather. And so they do acknowledge that, look, we understand that it was needed, especially after apartheid, for redress. But we've seen what's happened. Only a few people have benefited from this and not everyone. This is why I keep saying it's all about what they're saying they're wanting to do is leveling the playing field and not just having a small group of people that are aligned to a specific party benefit, rather everyone. They want it to be more inclusive. So that's my understanding of it.
Right. Any lingering questions for you at the moment?
Right now, it's the how they get it past Parliament without the numbers in the House, with them going against their biggest party in the GNU. It's the process of how to get it across and to make it a law. And look, we know that acts or bills rather, they take time before they are accented into law. For me, they haven't answered the question of how exactly are they going to get this over the line, because in Parliament it is a numbers game. And it's numbers that they don't have. So I'm very interested about the how they're going to go about it.
Right. No other comment from the ANC. You did mention that the presidency said it wasn't aware of this sort of policy being brought in the first place, right?
No, the president said that it hasn't been brought to his attention. They haven't discussed it, but obviously the ANC stands behind its transformative policies. That's what they always say. They will always defend BBBEE, and I think I don't think we will see them deviate from that anytime soon.
Perfect. That's Siyamtanda Capa. Thank you so much for bringing us a little bit more of the nuance from that particular DA presser to understand the legislative counter proposals that are being brought by, a former opposition party, although it still likes to think of itself as the official opposition within government, although, a bit of an awkward bedfellow with the ANC and the GNU these days. Sia, I really appreciate your time on the lead.
Thank you so much, Graeme.
Trending topic.
Moving to our trending topic now, and in a revealing follow-up from our previous edition, News 24's investigations team can today confidently report that it appears the boss of slain Ekurhuleni financial auditor Mpho Mafole allegedly manipulated and whitewashed his team's findings regarding a massive 1.8 billion rand chemical toilets contract. Mafole's audit team initially found that certain bidders may have been unfairly sidelined in the tender process, opening the city up to possible future litigation, and that awarding the incorrect companies may have led to mass irregular spending and a worsening of municipal service delivery. Once Mafole had filed this internal report and its findings with his audit head, Philip Rakwale, just 3 days later he was gunned down in Kempton Park. That's the timeline. Now, our senior investigative journalist Sikonati Manchansha tells the lead that Rakwale altered and misrepresented what Mafole had first highlighted.
When Philip Rakwale, the executive head of internal audit at the municipality, received Mafole's a report which pointed out serious irregularities in the procurement process for the 1.8 billion rand tender, Rakwale misrepresented and sanitized the report before sending to his own boss a final report that actually contradicted Mafole and said there were no irregularities and that the audit team was quite happy with the procurement process.
So what about the City of Ekurhuleni's official response to the revelations?
The Ekurhuleni municipality declined to comment, citing an ongoing police investigation into the murder of Mr. Mafole. They said they would not be commenting lest they jeopardize the police investigation, and that in due course they would be able to deal with this.
Well, what say you? Drop us a voice note on 072 562 3179, and note this is just the beginning of News 24's hunted series of investigations into the murder of Mpho Mafole. What exactly went on there? It's clear the City of Ekurhuleni's got a lot to answer here.
Buying a car? Let driving with J9 steer you right.
The reason why I wanted you in today is because I want to talk about car sales. You were in that space for a few years as a salesman.
News 24's motoring podcast, hosted by Janine van der Post, delivers sharp car advice, expert test drives.
Nowadays, when somebody, for the most part, when somebody walks into a dealership, they know sometimes more about the car than the salesperson does because of the access to information.
Yeah. The latest trends and motorsport interviews, all in one smooth ride.
But I mean, these are basic questions that people really need to know. And I think at the end of the day, you just really need to do your homework.
Catch Driving with J9 on News 24 or wherever you get your podcasts. And finally,
ending off our Tuesday edition with On This Day in South African History. Well, on the 21st of October 2003, South Africa had learned that human rights lawyer and former ANC treasurer Vanessa Brereton had secretly worked as an apartheid spy. Known for defending political activists, Brereton had in fact been agent RS452, feeding critical information to the security police whilst appearing loyal to the liberation movement. She admitted her double life in 2003, just years after leaving the force, when of course the ANC was unbanned. Her confession shocked South Africa. It raised tough questions, of course, about the truth, trust, and what was left unsaid during the Truth and Reconciliation process. Anything on your mind that you've heard in today's edition, please feel free to send us a WhatsApp voice note 072 562 3179. If you'd like to advertise on The Lead, it's prime real estate. Get involved now while you still can at thelead@24.com. And to be reminded of each episode, please hit the like, follow and subscribe buttons on our Spotify, Apple and YouTube podcast channels. An editor's note, only one more edition that's coming out tomorrow, Wednesday, and at the same time, 7 p.m. And then The Lead is taking a break right up until Monday, the 3rd of November. I'll be getting married. I'm going on my honeymoon. Wish me luck in that regard. I'll be going up the Eastern Cape and checking out a part of the country that, for me at least, is hugely underexplored, if you will. If you've got any cool Eastern Cape places you think I should go and check out, please drop us a mail, drop us a voice note, drop us a message on this very podcast, under the YouTube comment section or Spotify, wherever you listen to us right now. I'd love to hear from you. Well, until tomorrow's show, my name's Graeme Roblheimer, and so long as there's trusted news first, we'll always have The Lead.
to know when the next episode drops, hit the like, follow and subscribe buttons on our YouTube, Spotify and Apple Podcast channels.